All right, welcome to another deep dive. Um, Today we're diving into something I know you've been curious about, and I'm pretty excited to learn more about myself, honestly, gut health. And specifically, we're going to be focusing on the intestinal mucosa,
Oh, yeah.
its function, what can go wrong with it, and how to keep it healthy.
Yeah.
So I've got expert speaker here with me to help guide us through some fascinating sources you shared.
Yeah, excited to be here.
So let's jump right in. The intestinal mucosa, it's kind of this, I don't know, it's kind of this gatekeeper of sorts, right? Like it's,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, it's the lining of your gut, essentially, and it plays such a vital role in digestion, but also acts as this barrier, protecting your body from harmful substances.
so what happens when this barrier, this intestinal mucosa is compromised? One of the sources mentioned leaky gut, which honestly sounds
Oh, yeah.
a bit alarming.
Yeah, well, leaky gut or intestinal permeability is when the tight junctions, between the cells in your intestinal mucosa, they become loose.
Oh,
You can think of it as this tightly woven fabric, that starts to unravel. And
Hmm.
so because of that, that allows undigested food particles, bacteria, toxins, all that kind of stuff can then leak into your bloodstream.
And that's where things get kind of dicey, right? Because then that
Yeah,
sets off all the alarms for our immune system.
exactly, exactly. Your immune system sees these foreign particles as these invaders,
Right.
and it triggers this big inflammatory response to kind of fight them off.
So like if I'm feeling, I don't know, constantly tired or I'm dealing with like recurring colds or I have, other inflammatory issues,
Yeah.
could a compromised mucosa be a contributing factor to those things?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Leaky gut has been linked to a really wide range of health issues,
Mm.
from fatigue, autoimmune conditions, to even skin problems and mood disorders. So it's
Ah.
really, really a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wait.
I'm really curious about what causes this damage to the intestinal mucosa in the first place. The sources you've reviewed, they highlight food sensitivities as kind of one of the main culprits.
Yeah,
So what makes certain foods so
yeah.
problematic for our gut lining?
So certain foods, they contain compounds that can trigger an immune response, or they can even directly damage the gut lining. So, for example, gluten, a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley, contains this component called gliadin.
Okay.
And research has actually shown that even in people without celiac disease, gliadin can increase the production of zonulin.
Zonulin, what is that?
Zonulin. Yeah, so zonulin is a protein that regulates the permeability of the intestinal lining.
Oh, okay.
So when the zonulin levels increase, those tight junctions we talked about, they loosen up,
Gotcha.
making the gut more permeable.
So even if I don't have a full-blown gluten intolerance or anything,
Yeah.
it might still be wise to kind of watch my gluten intake just for the sake of a healthy gut lining.
That's a good takeaway. Yeah, absolutely. Gluten's a common culprit, but there are other food sensitivities that can also play a role. Dairy products, particularly those containing casein, can be problematic for some people.
Yeah, and a couple of the sources that you sent over, they talked about saponins in quinoa and lectins in legumes.
Right.
Seems like even healthy foods can potentially, cause some problems.
It's true, but proper preparation methods can actually reduce the impact of these compounds, like soaking legumes for several hours and rinsing quinoa thoroughly can make a big difference.
That's good to know. I love that there are things you can do to still enjoy those foods.
Right.
One of the sources shared this really fascinating anecdote about a woman who was struggling with infertility, and after 10 rounds of IVF, she eliminated gluten from her diet,
Wow.
and she was able to conceive naturally.
That's an incredible example of how interconnected our systems are. It really underscores the powerful impact gut health has on our overall well-being.
It's wild to think about how something, as seemingly simple as a dietary change
Mm.
can have such like profound effects on other systems.
Yeah.
So it's not just food sensitivities.
Right.
What other lifestyle factors could contribute to a compromised gut lining?
Well, chronic stress is a major one.
Of course.
When we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol.
Right.
And
Yeah.
cortisol is a hormone that can actually disrupt the gut barrier and contribute to inflammation.
Ah, stress, my arch nemesis.
Right. Yeah, it's a big why.
So things like alcohol, smoking, even certain medications can also wreak havoc on our gut lining.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Those are big contributors. Alcohol and smoking directly damage the gut lining, while, medications like NSAIDs, for example, can disrupt the delicate balance of the gut microbiome and impair mucosal healing.
And we can't forget about the impact of our like eating habits as well, right?
Yeah.
One of the sources mentioned the migrating motor complex, which sounds pretty important.
Yeah. That is important.
What is that?
It's essentially our gut's natural cleaning crew. So it's this series of wave-like muscle contractions that sweep through your digestive tract between meals, clearing out debris, preventing bacterial overgrowth.
So if we're constantly snacking, we're essentially just like interrupting this crucial cleaning process.
Exactly, exactly. Giving your gut these regular breaks from digestion allows that migrating motor complex to do its job.
So that recommendation to avoid constant snacking is about more than just calorie control or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually about supporting our gut's, natural cleansing mechanisms.
Yeah, it's a bigger picture thing.
Okay, now, speaking of disruptions to the gut, you
Yeah.
said a question over about the relationship between conditions like IBS and SIBO and the health of the intestinal mucosa.
Right.
It's kind of this chicken or the egg dilemma, right?
Yeah, it is.
Like, does a weakened mucosa make you more susceptible to these conditions, or do these conditions cause damage to the mucosa?
Right.
It's tricky to kind of decipher.
Yeah, it can be really challenging to pinpoint that root cause, and in a lot of cases, it's kind of a vicious cycle, right? Yeah.
So a weakened mucosa might allow bacteria to overgrow, which could lead to SIBO, which can then further damage the mucosa. And similarly, IBS symptoms can irritate the gut lining, causing inflammation, increasing permeability. So it's just this
Yeah, so it's like this tangled web.
this tangled web. Yeah.
But the key takeaway here is that focusing on like healing and supporting the mucosa itself is crucial.
Yeah.
Regardless of the specific diagnosis, you know what I mean?
Exactly. By addressing that underlying mucosal health, we can break that cycle and improve overall gut function.
Okay, wow. This is all so fascinating. It's like our gut health is this like delicate ecosystem that
Yeah.
we need to understand and nurture.
Absolutely.
Speaking of nurturing, I'm eager to learn about, some practical steps we can take to heal and support our intestinal mucosa.
Yeah.
Maybe we can dive into that in the next part of our deep dive.
I'm happy to. Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about what can go wrong.
But now I'm really interested in the solutions.
Yeah.
Like where do we even begin to heal and support our intestinal mucosa?
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
The good news is a lot of the most effective strategies are really within our control,
Okay.
and they often involve just getting back to basics.
Back to basics.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Like, what does that actually look like in practice?
So first and foremost, it's about prioritizing whole, unprocessed foods.
Okay.
Think, fruits, vegetables, quality proteins, and healthy fats.
Gotcha.
Those provide the nutrients your gut lining needs to repair and thrive.
Makes sense. And fiber's key too, right? It feeds the beneficial bacteria that reside in our gut.
Absolutely, yeah. Fiber is like a feast for those good gut bacteria, helping them flourish, create a balanced gut microbiome.
We've also talked about the impact of stress. So I'm assuming stress management techniques are pretty high up there on the list.
Very high up there, yeah.
Okay.
Chronic stress can really wreak havoc on your gut, so finding ways to manage that stress is crucial.
Right.
It doesn't have to be complicated. Even just simple practices like deep breathing, meditation, spending time in nature, engaging in activities you enjoy.
Yeah.
All those things can make a really big difference.
Okay, so nourishing our bodies with real food,
Yeah.
finding ways to de-stress, those are kind of like the two big pillars here.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Are there any other lifestyle tweaks we can implement?
Oh, for sure. Remember our discussion of the migrating motor complex?
Yeah.
Giving your digestive system a break between meals allows that natural cleaning crew to do its work.
Right, so avoiding constant snacking is like such a simple yet powerful way to support gut health.
It really is, yeah.
Okay, cool. And when you do eat,
Yeah.
make sure to chew thoroughly. Right.
Yes, absolutely. Aim for at least 30 chews per bite. I know it sounds like a lot.
30, okay.
But it not only aids digestion, but it also helps you feel more satisfied and prevents overeating.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so mindful eating plays a huge role in all of this.
Huge role. Yeah.
Speaking of mindful eating, one of the sources mentioned natural remedies that can help soothe the gut.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of aloe vera juice. It's been a game changer for me for my occasional bouts of constipation. But what are some other natural soothers that have kind of caught your eye?
Yeah, aloe vera is great. It has these soothing properties, can be really helpful for constipation.
Yeah.
Bone broth is another fantastic one. It's rich in collagen and amino acids that support gut lining repair.
I've heard a lot of good things about bone broth.
Yeah, it's having a moment, right?
Yeah. Are there any other natural remedies with a solid track record?
Oh, there's quite a few, yeah. Licorice root, plantain, flax seeds, slippery elm are all known for their gut-soothing properties.
Mhm.
And if you're feeling adventurous, you could try umeboshi plums.
Umeboshi plums. Those are the like incredibly sour pickled plums, right?
They are, yes, very intense, but they have a long history of use in traditional Japanese medicine for calming the gut.
Okay, interesting. I love that we're talking about things that are like accessible and affordable, like you don't need these fancy supplements or complicated protocols
Right.
to start supporting your gut health.
I think that's a really good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, the simplest solutions are the most powerful.
Yeah. Now, speaking of supplements, glutamine seems to be a popular one for gut health.
Oh, yeah.
It's often touted as like a gut healing hero. But what are your thoughts on glutamine supplementation?
Glutamine is an amino acid that's essential for intestinal lining repair.
Okay.
So it can be really beneficial. However, it's important to note that it's not a magic bullet and it might not be suitable for everyone.
Okay, so it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Not at all. In
Yeah.
fact, people with really sensitive or what we call reactive guts might find glutamine too stimulating.
Reactive guts. What does that mean exactly?
So a reactive gut is essentially a gut that's easily irritated or inflamed.
Hmm.
And these people often experience symptoms like bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation in response to certain foods or stressors.
Okay. So they need to be particularly careful with supplements and dietary changes.
Yeah. So it sounds like working with like a qualified practitioner becomes pretty essential here.
Absolutely.
It's not about self-diagnosing and just like throwing a bunch of supplements at the problem.
Right?
It's about understanding your individual needs.
I couldn't agree more. A knowledgeable practitioner can help determine if glutamine is right for you and guide you towards other appropriate supplements if needed.
So if glutamine isn't always the answer, are there other supplements that are worth exploring for gut health?
Yeah, there are a few options. Omega-3 fatty acids, especially when combined with sea buckthorn, have potent anti-inflammatory properties that can benefit the gut lining.
Okay.
Vitamins A, D, and E are important for mucosal health, and zinc carnosine can be helpful for supporting gut barrier integrity.
Hmm.
Resveratrol, a compound found in red wine and grapes, has also shown promising results
Interesting.
in promoting gut health.
Wow, so many options to consider.
Right.
And I can't forget to mention butyrate.
I recently learned about its role in nourishing the gut lining and reducing inflammation.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty impressed with the effects so far, I have to say.
Butyrate is really fascinating. It's a short-chain fatty acid that's produced by those beneficial bacteria in the gut.
Right.
It plays a really crucial role in gut health, but like any supplement, it's important to use it thoughtfully and under the guidance of a healthcare professional.
Yeah. That seems to be the theme here, right? It's all about personalized care.
It is, yeah.
What resonates with me from all this is that, we have so much control
Yeah,
over our gut health.
we do.
Like through dietary and lifestyle changes, we can create a thriving internal environment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's important to remember that gut health is about more than just like physical well-being, right? It's also intimately connected to our mental and emotional state.
It is, yeah. That gut-brain connection is so powerful.
Yeah, when my gut is out of whack, my anxiety levels definitely go up. It's just like a constant reminder to prioritize gut health, not just for like physical reasons,
Right.
but for my mental clarity and my emotional balance as well.
It's a fascinating and complex relationship, one that, frankly, we're still unraveling.
Mm.
But what we do know is that a healthy gut contributes to a healthy mind.
Yeah, this has been so enlightening. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this like vast and intricate world of gut health.
Right. It's a big topic.
But we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Maybe it's time to kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive and move on to some final reflections and takeaways.
Feels good to me.
Well, we've covered so much in this deep dive into gut health and specifically, the intestinal mucosa.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It really has. I think one of the things that's like really stuck with me is just how interconnected everything is. It's not just about what we eat, it's how we live, how we manage stress, how we kind of care for our overall well-being.
Yeah, it's this holistic picture.
It really is, yeah. And, thinking of our gut issues as these messages from our bodies,
Oh, yeah.
like we touched on earlier,
Right.
that's a powerful shift in perspective, I think.
It is. It is.
Like a reminder to listen to those whispers,
Yeah,
to pay attention to the subtle cues that our bodies are giving us.
right.
Like, if we're experiencing these gut issues, maybe it's a sign that something deeper needs to be addressed, whether
Yeah.
it's chronic stress, poor sleep, even like emotional imbalances.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just about eliminating the symptoms. It's about addressing the root cause and fostering this harmonious relationship with our bodies.
And it's, I don't know, it's empowering to know that we have so much agency
Yeah.
in this process, you know?
Yeah.
Like through mindful dietary and lifestyle changes, we can create an environment where our gut can thrive.
Exactly. And it's a journey of self-discovery, right? What works for one person might not work for another. It's all about experimenting, finding what feels good for your body, seeking guidance from those qualified practitioners who can offer that personalized support.
Speaking of personalized support, where can our listeners go to learn more and
Hmm.
connect with knowledgeable practitioners in this field? Like, are there any specific resources that you recommend?
Yeah, there are a ton of great resources out there. The American College of Gastroenterology and the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases. They offer really credible information on a wide range of gut health topics.
Okay,
For those looking for functional medicine practitioners, the Institute for Functional Medicine is a great resource.
awesome. I'll be sure to include links to those in the show notes for everyone listening.
Great.
Expert speaker, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your expertise. Your insights have been so valuable.
It's been my pleasure. I always enjoy diving deep into these topics.
Yeah, me too. And everyone listening, thank you so much for joining us on this gut health adventure. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to embark on your own journey of, healing and discovery. And remember, it's not about perfection.
Yeah,
It's about progress.
absolutely.
Even small changes can make a really big difference in your gut health and your overall well-being.